Hello, my name is Mark Cooper. I'm the president of Fleet Lions. I have to say that I was not expecting the final 4 months of my presidency to go the way it has so far. The expectation was that we would have a couple of fundraising events, district and MD convention, a few charter events, the annual Zone Fun Fest for the disabled and their carers, presidential handover, and then I could sit back and relax. But the COVID-19 pandemic arrived and has affected every one of us, not just in our local communities, but globally. Nobody's immune, and lockdowns are now in force in very many other countries as well as our own. We held our first ever and probably not the last virtual club meeting earlier this week. Attendance, of course, was better than ever. Well, the members couldn't exactly say they were out on Wednesday evening, now could they? The meeting went even better than I had anticipated and was a great way to keep the club members involved and socialising. We even had 2 potential members join the meeting, which was terrific. The Lions International remit is to provide local support at times of crisis. We have seen great evidence of this in recent years, with Lions providing help after natural disasters and some closer to home, such as Grenfell and the recent flooding events. Here at Fleet Lions, we stepped up to the plate days before the lockdown was imposed. Hampshire County Council decreed at a meeting on the 18th of March that each of the 9 civic voluntary associations in the Hampshire CVS network should coordinate the voluntary response within their areas. Fleet Lions have had a long and very fruitful association with Heart Voluntary Action, one of those 9 groups in the CVS network. That same evening, the Fleet Lions trustees met with Sue Vincent of HVA, who had attended the Hampshire conference earlier in the day. In line, as I say, with our founding principles, Fleet Lions offered their services to the HVA to help in any capacity required to aid the vulnerable as the COVID-19 pandemic spread. Well, 5 days later, on the 23rd of March, whilst plans between HVA, Hampshire CC and Hart District Council and all the parishes were still being formulated, the country went into lockdown. Not being deterred, those Fleet Lion members, not themselves subject to strict self-isolation, volunteered to do shopping and prescription collections for the vulnerable. Remember that most of our Lions are of an age or health that forces self-isolation. That has not deterred them, however. Several are involved with making reassurance calls with the Zone IT project for disadvantaged school children now doing homeschooling. Look out for another video on this terrific project. The younger, slightly more able-bodied, non-self-isolating Lions and their partners were tasked with collecting prescription medication and doing the food shopping for their charges. The number of vulnerable people was easily outstripping the physical resources that Lions could provide, especially as queuing at pharmacies to collect medication was taking over 2 hours, only to find the prescription wasn't ready or was incorrectly filled. Then there were the supermarkets. Queues, no stocks on the shelves, and there has to be a bog roll mountain somewhere. Fleet and Church Crookham parishes have a population in excess of 80,000. We were very fortunate after asking for help from the Fleet Lions volunteer team, we were able to cope with the initial demand for assistance. Collaboration also with Heart Lions and the Churches Together group, we were able to swell the numbers of volunteers even more. Fleet Lions have been responsible to date for coordinating volunteers with our clients needing help from the Fleet and Church Crookham parishes. We currently have 62 volunteers looking after over 100 people, and this number of vulnerable will increase as the lockdown continues. We already have a number of approved volunteers waiting for their assignments and are processing a fantastic 900 other people that have offered their services. Each volunteer assigned to a client gets a photo ID card issued by Hart District Council and are covered by the HVA liability insurance. Has this been easy to set up? Absolutely not. With UK government constantly moving the goalposts without telling the councils and other agencies how their initiatives are implemented has been a hindrance. Local government has been fantastic, but they too are caught like rabbits in the headlights as well. We're all learning as we go along. Mistakes have been made, but we learn from them. Changes in process are constant, but they are helping to improve the service and we adapt. The fact, however, that we made contact and helped our first vulnerable person within days of the initial meeting with HVA is nothing short of remarkable. Looking positively, to say the recipients are extremely appreciative and thankful for this fantastic work the volunteers are doing would be a massive understatement. Other than providing them with food and medications, it gives them contact with the outside world, which must be good for mental welfare too. We also published a contact page on the Fleet Lions website for volunteers and those requiring assistance. The take-up on here was actually greater than even we expected. As a final note, I'd like to tell you about one of those contacts. A family in California, USA, were asking after the welfare of their elderly deaf uncle who does not use the phone and has no internet. We were able to organise uniformed council officers to visit the gentleman's home to check on his welfare and well-being. He is well and being cared for by his neighbours and friends. The response I received back from California after reassuring them that he is being looked after and has our contact number should he need anything, was nothing short of overwhelming. It really did bring tears to my eyes. It still does, even as I recount this story, and this is just one story amongst hundreds of similar acts of kindness and gratitude. Oh, and a final note. If anyone knows a barber who survived COVID-19 as I did, can you send them round to me, please? I really need a haircut. Whatever you are doing during this very strange time for all of us, please stay safe, look after your fellow lions, neighbours and family.